Beef jerky. It's chewy, it's flavorful, and it's packed with protein. Whether you're fueling up for an adventure or just need a savory snack, there's something incredibly satisfying about tearing into a piece of this perfectly seasoned, long-lasting treat. It's not just about drying out meat. There's an entire science behind it. From premium beef selection to precise slicing, seasoning, drying, and packaging, every step is carefully controlled to create the perfect bite. Today, we're going behind the scenes of beef jerky production, from selecting the finest cuts to the final packaging that keeps it fresh. Let's step inside the factory and see exactly how beef jerky is made. Beef jerky may seem like a modern snack, but the idea of drying meat for preservation dates back thousands of years. Long before refrigeration, ancient civilizations needed a way to keep meat from spoiling. Indigenous tribes in North and South America developed a method of salting and air drying strips of meat, creating a long-lasting, nutrient-dense food. South American Quechua people called it Jerky, which literally means dried, salted meat, a term that eventually evolved into jerky. As explorers and settlers spread across the world, jerky became a survival staple. Cowboys, soldiers, and travelers relied on it as an easy-to-carry protein source that wouldn't spoil in the heat. Today, thanks to modern drying techniques and flavor innovations, jerky has transformed from a simple survival food into a multi-billion-dollar industry enjoyed around the world. Like any great dish, beef jerky starts with quality ingredients, and that means selecting the perfect cut of beef. Factories don't just use any random part of the cow. Instead, they choose lean, flavorful cuts like top round, bottom round, or sirloin. Why these? Fat is the enemy of jerky. Too much fat and the jerky spoils too fast. Too little and it loses its signature chew. It's all about finding the perfect balance. Once the beef arrives at the factory, it goes through a strict inspection. Workers check for freshness, texture, and color. Because only the best meat makes it to the next stage. Any beef that doesn't meet these standards are rejected. Once the top quality beef is selected, it's time for trimming. Workers remove any excess fat, ensuring the jerky stays lean, chewy, and shelf-stable. Then comes the slicing. The beef is cut into thin, uniform strips, usually about a quarter-inch thick. And here's a cool trick. The meat is partially frozen before slicing. Why? Because slightly frozen meat holds its shape better, allowing for precise, even cuts. This prevents some pieces from being too thick and chewy, while others dry out too quickly. Large industrial slicers handle this job, cutting massive amounts of beef at once, ensuring each strip is perfect for drying. Now for the most important part, flavor. The sliced beef is tossed into massive mixing drums where it's coated in a rich, flavorful marinade of spices, salt, and sometimes sugar. Every jerky brand has its own secret recipe, but some common ingredients include soy and Worcestershire sauce for deep umami richness, garlic and onion powder to enhance savory flavors, black pepper and chili flakes for a spicy kick, and brown sugar or honey to balance the saltiness. But seasoning isn't just for flavor, it's also for preservation. Salt draws out moisture, preventing bacteria from growing, and sugar enhances browning and adds just a touch of sweetness. Factories use tumbling machines to ensure each strip is fully coated and soaks up all the seasoning. Once marinated, the beef strips are carefully laid out on large racks. These racks allow for maximum air circulation, which is key to drying evenly. If the pieces are too close together, they won't dry properly, so workers arrange them with just the right amount of spacing. Some factories take it a step further, smoking the meat for added flavor. Not all jerky is smoked, but when it is, it takes the flavor to the next level. Some factories expose the beef to hickory, mesquite, or applewood smoke, adding a deep smoky richness that enhances the jerky's flavor. The longer it smokes, the bolder the taste. But smoking isn't just about flavor, it also helps preserve the meat, thanks to antimicrobial properties in the smoke compounds. Plus, it gives the jerky that perfect reddish-brown hue. Now for the most crucial step, drying. This is where the raw meat becomes jerky. The racks of beef strips are moved into massive industrial dehydrators or ovens, where hot air circulates around them for hours. The temperature is carefully controlled. Too hot and the meat will cook instead of dry. Too low and it won't remove enough moisture to be shelf-stable. The process can take 4 to 12 hours, depending on thickness and drying method. As the moisture evaporates, the flavors intensify, and the meat develops that perfect, chewy bite we all love. Once dried, every batch of jerky goes through rigorous quality checks. Workers check texture, which should be chewy but not too tough. Color must be a deep, rich brown with no raw spots. And moisture level, which should not be too dry but dry enough to be shelf-stable. Factories often use moisture meters to ensure the jerky falls within the perfect range. If a batch is too moist, it could spoil. If it's too dry, it might be too tough to enjoy. Only the best pieces move on to packaging. Now it's time to seal in the flavor. The jerky is cut into bite-sized pieces and packed into airtight bags to lock in freshness. Some packages are vacuum sealed to remove air, while others use nitrogen gas flushing to prevent oxidation. And that little packet inside the bag? It's an oxygen absorber, ensuring the jerky stays just as tasty as the day it was made. And just like that, beef jerky is ready to hit store shelves. From premium beef selection to precise slicing, seasoning, drying, and packaging, every piece of jerky is carefully crafted for maximum flavor and freshness. So, next time you tear into a bag, remember, it's not just dried meat. It's a snack perfected over centuries. Which is your favorite flavor of jerky? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. See you next time for another tour around the factory.